I'm so sorry.
They sent me a farmer's roll.
Just what we need. Let me tell you, I've been predicting them all.
You've been having a little
record. I've been predicting.
You know that.
Yeah.
You get over here.
Wow.
Please, sir.
You gotta ignore everybody.
Can I see your badge?
He's important. Thank you for telling me.
Is that his T in middle initial?
Volcano or pestilence? Because those are the two things we've not seen. Is that on the record? Those are the two things I predicted. December 1st. And we will figure out how. Okay, let's. Do I have everyone? Not missing. We'll make. They're working on that information for you. They'll be back in just a minute. Are you ready, sir? Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Janet Lee, Escambia County Administrator, Escambia County, Florida. We wanted to bring to you today some continued good news from the state and the federal government. I do know that it's a Saturday in the fall, so that means there's football, and we know that football is very important to all of our community, but the information that we have to provide you today is extremely important as we move forward throughout this recovery process. So we thought it was very important to provide to you, and we know that you will hopefully appreciate it. I have with me today Allison Leary, is the state of Florida's Bureau Chief of Recovery. Jeff Coleman is our FEMA FCO, our Federal Coordinating Officer. Alexis Villasenor, she's our FEMA Disaster Survivor Assistance Crew Lead. And I have Ashante Smith, which is our FEMA Liaison Officer. Ashante is from B, so we welcome him home to come help us in our area recovery. Allison McClellan is the state of Florida's Bureau Chief. She is an experienced attorney with a demonstrated history building meaningful relationships throughout all levels of government. And as you know, for recovery, that's extremely important. Those relationships have included planning for, responding to, and recovering from challenges and disasters. Prior to her working with Division Management, she was as Recovery Counsel in Louisiana for Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. She earned her JD from LSU and her bachelor's degree from Auburn, so I'm sure she's conflicted on Saturdays in football as well. And then we have Jeff Coleman. Jeff is going to be our Federal Coordinating Officer. You will see Jeff and Allison both a lot in our community over the upcoming months and perhaps as long as a year. So Jeff has over 20 years of experience in operations, logistics, planning, administration, supply services, and equipment maintenance. He is currently the FCO for Michael, so he's also been working in Bay County, so he's very familiar with our community and our area. Prior to FEMA, he worked for 7 years as a logistics analyst for Sava Solutions. He's also a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel with 20 years of logistics experience. He hails from Alabama, and he attended the Alabama Agricultural and Mechanic University. And he is an Alabama fan, so as you can imagine, football and Saturday is very important to him as well. And then we have Alexis Villasenor. Alexis is one of FEMA's Disaster Survivor Assistance Crew Leads. Each of our crews will have a lead, but we're very thankful to have Alexis with us here today. Alexis works at FEMA headquarters in the Field Operations and Workforce Development Division. And she will be providing you some very important information on survivor assistance today. Prior to working at FEMA, she was a planning analyst in DC and New York for Ingenious Consulting Group. She earned her Master of Science in Threat and Response Management from the University of Chicago, and her bachelor's degree is in Emergency Management from Western Illinois University. So as you can see, we have some very distinguished, very experienced, and amazing professionals that they have sent to help us in Escambia County, Escambia and Santa Rosa County, to recover from this storm. And with that, I'd like to ask Allison to please come forward and speak.
So thank you, Ms. Gilley. And thank you to the Escambia County community for your efforts in reporting Hurricane Sally damage and cooperating with the assessment teams who've been in the area over the last few weeks. Their efforts directly led to receiving this FEMA declaration. FDEM had dozens of staff members in county over the last couple of weeks and will continue to have a significant presence in Escambia County at the FEMA Area Field Office and in the other declared counties. With the Individual Assistance Declaration, families impacted by Hurricane Sally now have access to critical FEMA programs, including housing assistance, crisis counseling, disaster unemployment assistance, small business administration assistance, disaster legal services, and case management. FDEM, Volunteer Florida, the Department of Economic Opportunity, and the Department of Children and Families and other state agencies all play critical roles in administering these programs. We will also continue to work with our partners to address unmet needs, whether through FEMA, state agencies, non-governmental organizations, and other partners. FDEM also serves as administrator for the state of Florida for FEMA's Public Assistance Program, which was also authorized under this presidential declaration. The PA program through DEM provides funding to state and local governments, certain types of private nonprofit organizations, to help respond to and recover from major disasters. After an event like Hurricane Sally, communities need help to cover the cost for debris removal, life-saving emergency protective measures, and restoring public infrastructure. FEMA and DEM work together with eligible PA applicants to administer this funding. In the last 7 months alone, FDEM has paid out over $750 million in public assistance funding. And since Governor DeSantis took office last January, we've paid over $3 billion in disaster recovery funding. I'll now turn over the podium to our federal coordinating officer from FEMA, Jeff Coleman.
Okay, good afternoon and roll tide. Thank you, Ms. Gilly. First, I just want to thank our partners from FDEM and the county administrators and EMs for the great teamwork and planning for this IADEC. I know it's been a long time coming, but we're here. FEMA's here. We never left. We're still here. As you know, the president has authorized FEMA to provide individual assistance to 5 counties in Florida from Hurricane Sally. Homeowners and renters in those counties who had uninsured losses resulting from a storm may be eligible for federal assistance. We started taking registrations yesterday, hours after the IADEC was announced. Some of the locations are, we have 3 sites in Escambia County, and I'll list with the addresses. Escambia County, the first one is the Southwest Branch Library on 12248 Gulf Beach Highway. The second is at the Brownsfield Community Center at 3200 West DeSoto Street. The third one is at the Escambia County Extension Service, which is 3740 Stephanie Road in Cantonment. Okay? At the 2 sites where we have the sign interpreters are at the Southwest Branch Library and Brownsfield Community Center. Now, if we have any applicants that need to go to any of the other centers, we have a person that you can contact. His name is Rick Farrington. His phone number is 202-805-6415. Call him for an appointment, and we can rotate those interpreters around to other sites as needed. We also have a site in Santa Rosa County, which is located at the Pensacola State College Santa Rosa Center. The address is 4075 Gulf Breeze Parkway. Registration is free and doesn't take long. You can register 3 ways. First, visit the website, disasterassistance.gov. Second, you can call the toll-free number at 1-800-621-3362. They're open every day from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Or you can download the FEMA app and register. We're operating the mobile registration intake centers in Escambia, Okaloosa, Santa Rosa counties. We're also working with our partners at FDEM on additional locations throughout the affected counties. Now we'll first turn it over to our Emmerich team lead, who will tell you what happens once you come to an intake center.
Thank you. So good afternoon. I am, as they've said, one of the crew leads at the Emmerich Center, or at the Emmerich site in Escambia County. So upon arrival to the site, you will be greeted by a FEMA staff member who at that time will ask you to put on a face mask if you do not already have one on. If you do not have one with you, we will supply you with one. There is the option, if you choose not to wear a mask, then we will provide you with the phone number that the FCO has just listed and the website that you may go to at a later time to register. If you choose to proceed with the registration at the site, our staff member that greeted you will walk you over to a table where a DSA specialist will help you with that registration. Some of the information that the DSA specialist will ask you for while completing your registration includes your social security number, the social security numbers of those within your household, your gross annual income, the address and phone number to the damaged home, and if you have homeowners insurance or flood insurance, they would need the name of the company your policy is held with. A few other COVID-19 precautions that we are taking at the Emmerich sites include having hand sanitizer at every seat available. They also include wiping down the tables and the chairs after every resident. We have plexiglass at the center of each table to separate the specialist from the resident applying for federal assistance. We also will be maintaining that 6-foot distance between the specialist as they're taking that registration. In addition to that, the FEMA staff will be wearing face masks as well as face shield while they are working with the resident. I will now turn it back over to the FCO to talk about the process after registration. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. So it is going to look a little different this time. Due to the COVID-19 situation, we are not going to have a lot of folks going door to door like we normally do. And as Alexis just described, we're going to have the mobile intake centers. So, and I just described locations are going to look a little different, but we are going to provide full support just like we normally do. With that, let me describe some of the key programs that come with the IA deck. The first is the IHP. And with IHP, it comes with rental assistance. It comes with hotel lodging, temporary housing expenses, and you may even qualify for some basic home repairs. The other program within IHP or within the IA deck is the other needs assistance. And with that, you may qualify for replacement or repair of necessary personal property, replacement of furniture, clothing, appliances, school supplies, and if you're self-employed, you may qualify for replacement of tools or any job-related equipment, and moving and storage, any moving and storage expenses. The other program under the IA deck is crisis counseling, and with that, we're working with the state to establish that program under the Department of Family and Children Services. Okay, now what happens after you register? So what happens is within 10 days, you will get a phone call from an inspector, okay? The inspector is going to ask you a bunch of questions about how your home was damaged. And again, that's going to look a little different this time because we may not be able to go out to your home to do a physical inspection. The site inspector will make a determination on your damages and if they can come and look at your home. And if they can, then they will. Within those 10 days, you will get a determination memo. Within 10 days after the inspector talks to you, you will get a decision letter. And that decision letter will tell you the award amount, or it will give you some other options to go and apply for other services. So that is what will happen after you first register with FEMA. Okay, and with that, I'll turn it back over to Ms. Gilly.
And I think one of the things that we discussed would be under unmet needs. If you had issues related to your deductible for your insurance, you may also qualify for support with that. I know that we've had a lot of questions from residents regarding deductibles. I did neglect to mention that Allison McCleary is also a resident of Escambia County, so we're very fortunate to have her be able to be assigned to us as a resident, so she knows the area very well already. Debris removal, I will just continue to mention this every time we talk. We know that there's a lot of debris out there. I think we mentioned to you all that's about 2.5 million cubic yards. And so we've already moved over 600,000 cubic yards. So you can see that we do still have a substantial amount of debris left to remove. That we do have several residential sites for you to be able to drop off the vegetation. You have Lexington Terrace, Bars Field, Brent Ballpark, the Equestrian Center. We have Park East on Pensacola Beach, John R. Jones, and the Oak Grove landfill. I would also like to continue to remind you that we are under a burn ban, so please do not be burning debris. And volunteers, I want to mention this as well. We've had a lot of groups that have come into our community. We're going on the third week. And so they have been very, very dedicated. They've taken thousands of requests for assistance. If you are able to volunteer, if you are able to help your neighbors or help those from your church, your other organizations, please do that. You know, it's good to have all of these groups come in from out of town, but as those of us continue to recover, to the extent to which we can also help our community is very, very important. I think it's good for those groups to see our community pitching in as well. And this is going to be a very long recovery process. And so we would like to do as much as we can as a community to help ourselves. So if you can volunteer, please call the United Way 211. You can call Crisis Cleanup. You can call Florida Baptist Disaster Relief. Let them know that you're available to help out as well. We've already mentioned 211. And then one of the things that we're going to continue to do is we'll continue to provide all of this information that we're getting from the state FDEM and from the FEMA on our myescambia.com/storm center website, and then also the Be Ready Escambia Facebook and Twitter. So with that, I will be more than happy to open it up for questions.
Hey, Annie Blanks, Pensacola Neutral. This is probably a question for Mr. Coleman. You were walking through the steps of the FEMA process. I'm sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
It sounded like, it's kind of a lot of information, but it sounded like you were saying it's pretty much going to be 20 days from the time somebody walks into the FEMA center to the time that they are going to get a check for some other kind of information. Did I hear that correctly? Is that
That is correct, and it's up to 20 days. So it could be before those 20 days. It just all depends on the situation, the amount of information that's going to be required for that.
okay? And is there, you all also may have said this, but is there a specific time period that these FEMA centers are going to be open? When do they close?
Yes, the FEMA centers are going to be open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
I mean, date-wise, are they going to be open for the next few weeks or a few months?
We will make that determination with the state based on how long we are going to stay at those sites, but we're going to be here until we finish. But we'll make that determination along with working with our partners from the state.
Okay, and then my last question is, do you have any idea why it took so long for FEMA to declare IA for Escambia, Tennessee counties, and Alabama counties?
I cannot do that comparison. I can only tell you that, again, in working with the counties and with FDM, our partners, we forward and we did some great planning to make sure we were ready. Tell you that the minute the IA deck was announced, I made a phone call to FDEM, and I also made a phone call to all of my players here on FEMA, at the FEMA staff, because we had all of our teams staged in Panama City, and with probably by noon that day of the announcement, we had the mobile registrations intake centers up and running. So it was fast. We were here, we were ready. We were just waiting on the word. Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to the public why the process might take a little longer because of all the other things that are going on for you guys out there covering here, Texas, Louisiana, California, and everything else? This is probably one of the main reasons why the process is going to be a little slower than usual.
Yeah, the process, now, are you talking the amount of people that we have on the ground and the process?
Yeah.
So yes, due to the coronavirus and the COVID-19 situation, we do have people spread out a little bit, and we do have some shortages in staff. But again, that's not going to delay any of our support to this community. We will do whatever it takes and work as long as we have to get it done.
And I just want to say thank you again to the media that continues to help us provide this information to our citizens. It's extremely important, and the fact that you continue to show up and continue to provide this resource to our community is very, very important, and I appreciate it. Okay, thank y'all.
All right.